Here we go!
Yes, indeed, guys. Today we have lalush versus RaNgeD in a Zerg versus Protoss. This is from the IPL qualifiers, and I am HD.
And I'm Cat's Pajamas.
Yes, he's the ring announcer for today. It is going to be on Xel'Naga Caverns, and this is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg. lalush, a very famous player from Europe. He's been playing since the beta. An amazing Zerg player, has played well all throughout his career. He's going to be the red Zerg at the top right, and RaNgeD, a player who plays very well on the ladder, not really on a team right now, but has been making a name for himself. He's the purple Protoss down in the bottom left.
Indeedy do. So let's go ahead and get things started here. This is Xel'Naga Caverns in a PvZ. We would expect to see probably pretty predictable 3-gate expands out of RaNgeD. Probably moving into, I've seen a lot of players do very, very aggressive gateway timings on this as well. TT1 especially loves that very, very strong sentry play. So be curious to see. I'm not all that familiar with RaNgeD's style to see what he plays against Zerg in this specific matchup.
Yep.
But I'd be curious to see what he does. I would expect some sort of an expand build, though.
Well, that's the thing about Protoss players, is they are able to do so many things out for the Cybernetics core. They can go for 4-gate pressure, they can go for 3-gate expansion, and on a map like this where it's relatively close, lalush's responsibility and his onus, so to say, is to scout the enemy Protoss and react accordingly. Now, I would like to see lalush immediately go for the hatchery. It looks like, though, he's gone for a spawning pool first, so he is going to try to get some early Zerglings out just to fend off the wayward pylon or the wayward probe, so that he can ensure that his hatchery will go down safely at the natural.
And it's really, really interesting because I've seen a lot of players. I've seen Idra recently. He's been favoring going after that hatch first, while as a couple of months ago.
He actually goes gas first sometimes now.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Like, a couple of months ago, he was doing nothing but gas first, but now he's been switching hatch first into it because he realizes that it's really, really difficult to be able to maintain any sort of economic lead if you're sacrificing that base that early, especially when Protoss players like to go after expand builds anyway. It's just kind of hard to maintain that economy.
Yeah, and that's really how it just shows how the metagame in StarCraft 2 continually shifts. Zerg players back in the days were always going hatch first, Hydra kind of leading that charge onward, and then Hydra himself realizing, you know what, hatch first doesn't always work when Protoss players can easily block it off with the pylon. They can be aggressive with 2-gate, they can block it off with cannons. If they go for forge fast expand, there's just a myriad of ways that Protoss can abuse that, and so it's really shifted itself down to Zerg players now going for pull or going for gas first and getting those early Zerglings out. And you guys can see at the natural, we had a little bit of a dance, a little bit of action right there as the probe was being annoying, but the Zerglings early on will be able to fend that off, and it looks like the hatchery is going to go down for lalush.
Yep, absolutely. Hatchery is good to go. I was curious, though. Sorry, I missed a little bit of that because I was sitting down here and looking at RaNgeD base because he did not wall. He does have another probe coming up here in a second, but he is susceptible to really early Zergling pressure. Let's see if this becomes a robo, see how much gas he saves up. Nope, just gateway number 2. So just deciding to put down that gateway really, really late. I can't say that was intentional because he has put down a conventional zealot wall now, so maybe just forgetting perhaps that or not realizing that his opponent was, it is possible.
I don't know what the theory is behind that, behind throwing a gateway inside your main first and then blocking off with your second gateway. Very, very strange and intriguing play from RaNgeD indeed. Unfortunately, I haven't really seen too many of RaNgeD's games to really put a note on why he's playing this way, but he is completely blocked off now, so things are going to be pretty standard, and lalush was not able to exploit that opening that he did have.
Nope, absolutely does get down the wall just like you mentioned. Interesting, he clears off the drone and then puts down a Twilight Council, and he's saving up a good bit of gas. There's the third gateway. Now, more than likely, this is going to be some sort of a 3-gate Blink Stalker build, but with the amount of gas he's saving up, there's always that potential, and me as a caster love to see it anyway. Could be DTs.
It could be. That's the thing about Protoss. They can go for optional routes even when it looks like it's 3-gate Blink Stalker. Now the thing here is, for a Zerg player, it's very difficult to scout that Twilight Council. I think down in the south we do have an Overlord there. Does he have vision of the Council? Yes, I believe he does. So he sees the Twilight Council. lalush is in a great spot, Cats. He knows that Blink Stalkers are on the way, but does he see the Dark Shrine coming up? If we could check that Overlord vision once again. Yes, indeed he does. That is so huge, and he's going to be well prepared for the Dark Temple.
Yes, indeed he is. He knows that's coming up. I mean, lalush is just so well prepared. Let's see how quickly he's got to go to either lair tech or he's...
Shrine?
Let's see.
Yeah,
Ooh,
he did.
He did.
I wonder if he just saw the Overlord and realized, oh, I need to cancel the Dark Shrine. Regardless, though, it looks like the Nexus may be picked off or forced to cancel here. cats, this is so intense. And the Nexus drops. I don't know if it was a cancel. It looks like it was not canceled.
No.
He did not recuperate his funds.
He has no money whatsoever. He hadn't put out any more resources. So RaNgeD now, he was forced off of his tech. He was forced off of his expansion. He didn't recover those resources. That's so much lost mining time. That's so much lost resources. It's going to be very difficult for him to be able to recover from that.
Talk about setbacks, man.
Oh, yeah.
That is a major setback. First going for the DT play and then realizing that the Overlord scouted it and he decided to cancel it. An extreme setback, to say the least. Going for the Nexus and then losing that 400 minerals. Another setback on top of another one. And it's just having all these compounding issues. Now, I wonder, has he researched Blink? Because he got the Twilight Council. It looks like he hasn't even made use of his Twilight Council at all.
Nothing at all.
Really, his entire build here is just so behind. Because if he was going to go 3-gate Nexus, he would have had this Nexus up ages ago.
Yep, absolutely. And the thing is that I know people may look at it and see that, you know, lalush is only going to a third base right now, and that's only going to put him one base up, and that's what you got to be a Zerg, blah, 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 blah. I understand that. But the fact that it's come up when it has, we're 8.5 minutes into the game, the third base is already coming up, and RaNgeD is in no position whatsoever to threaten that, is absolutely critical, and it means that he is not going to have a response prepared in any way, shape, or form. Still just working off of those 3 gates, they're very low production, and looks like we do have Lair coming up now for lalush as well. He does already have the Roach Warren down. He's looking so good.
I couldn't agree more, Cats. Honestly, lalush right now, he is getting a very late lair, but it doesn't really matter because RaNgeD hasn't made use of his tech past the Cybernetics core regardless. So essentially, it's Gateway versus Hatchery tech right now. And like you said, lalush is up 1 base only, and you might think that's standard, but no, he's way ahead in this game right now, in my opinion. RaNgeD cannot move out, he cannot attack, he's completely stuck inside his 2 bases, and lalush is just going to run wild with it. He's going to grab the gold expansion, and we're going to have a 4-base Zerg versus a 2-base Protoss momentarily.
Yeah, it looks like RaNgeD is going to move out, and he's going to be sorely disappointed here in a second. Even with the amount of force field that he's going to have, these Zerglings can either just run around the back and force all these units to come back, or they can just attack and kill that army, but it looks like lalush is going to make his way in. There are a lot of probes up, but those are going to die immediately. Look how quickly those are disappearing. Photon Cannon going to go down as well. RaNgeD losing all of his economy, forced to bring back all of his units, and that is exactly where he does not want to be.
This is a brilliant attack by lalush, forcing the pullback of those forces, and it looks like a force field is going to block those Zerglings from getting inside the main. Now on the production tab, we have an immediate tech switch into Roaches. I like this. These Zerglings forced RaNgeD to produce all these Zealots. Look, that's another Zealot warping in, and when those Roaches arrive, along with that Glio Reconstitution, which is essentially speed, those Zealots are going to be no match. Those sentries are going to really be no match against those Roaches, and RaNgeD is just falling further and further behind in this game.
Yep, absolutely. Looks like lalush does have all those Roaches out. He's also making himself a nice little creep highway. He knows his goal right now is not to do creep spread all the way across the map so we can do flanking maneuvers and things like that. It's just to direct it as quickly as he possibly can at RaNgeD base so we can get those Roaches and reinforcements down there as fast as possible.
Yeah, your Zerg tax dollars at work, making that highway, building it across the map. This is going to make those Zerg units so much faster, and it's going to allow them to maneuver around the map and defend against any kind of attacks, if RaNgeD is able to mount any kind of an attack right now, because what we're seeing is him being on the back foot. He's unable to be offensive. RaNgeD is constantly just backed up against the wall, and lalush is the one being the aggressor. And for a Zerg, and I'm a Zerg player, I can tell you right now, this is the best spot. This is a dream spot for Zerg.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's the 4th base. It's about halfway done here. Already, if we take a look at the economy tab, we see lalush is ahead in mining. He's only up by 5 workers at this point because, well, he was actually going for a relatively low worker, high aggression sort of play there for a little while. He's actually reinforcing with Hydralisks. In addition, Hydra's coming up with Groove Spines, so pretty predictable Roach Hydra army. This is especially effective now, though, because he's done so much damage to RaNgeD. RaNgeD has not been able to switch in tech. Yes, he does have the Robo facility down, but that's going to do nothing against the Hydras.
Well, the thing is, he's not even getting Colossus. He's actually making an Immortal. So yeah, Hydras are going to be a brilliant unit right now, even though they don't see that much action in Zerg versus Protoss because Colossus is such a heavy counter to it. I think RaNgeD here is going to have a lot of trouble unless he makes Colossus, because those Hydras are coming now, and Hydras are so effective against gateway units. Those force fields just really not doing much. And at the back door, lalush making a counterattack, forcing the GG out of RaNgeD Cats.
Yep, RaNgeD forced to leave the game right there. Yes, well, you just said it right there. I mean, from point A to point B, lalush in control the entire time.
Point A to point Z.
Yeah. Oh. Yes. Well done. The Zerg influence in no way, shape, or form affecting HD's commentary here. But that's a very nice job out of lalush. Especially like the way that he was always forcing RaNgeD to play the units that he wanted to play. Looks like a hallucinated Phoenix made its way up to the top right. But, because of the way that lalush had the scout with the Overlord initially, it forced RaNgeD away from the Twilight Council at first, and that Twilight Council never ended up doing anything the entire game. So it forced him off the DT tech. Then he was able with that to know that there was the timing period when he was going to try and move into a 3-gate expand, but by that point lalush already had enough Zerglings, comes down and denies that. So time after time after time, lalush was just setting the pace, and there was no way RaNgeD could come back.
Yeah, this is one of those maps where trying to hide tech is actually really hard to do against Zerg because of this little corner crevice where you can basically keep an Overlord if you send it out early on. So I think that RaNgeD had an idea here, but it just didn't work out because that Overlord scouted it.
Yep, absolutely. So that does put lalush up 1-0 here in this best-of-3 set. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to be back for game number 2 in just a second.
Stay tuned.